I'm Kathleen Henderson from Roots and Boots, and I'm going to show you how to save lettuce seed. A few advantages of saving your own seeds are obviously you save that expense. You don't have to purchase those seeds. A bigger advantage for me, in my mind as a gardener, is that when you save seeds from a plant, that's a plant that grew in your climate and has kind of adapted to your climate. So as you continue to save your own seed, you are essentially developing seed and plants that are better suited to your particular climate. That's a huge advantage. And then another advantage is that if you're a gardener like me, you probably have a very curious mind and you like to experiment. And it's just a great process for any gardener to go through, is to watch a plant go from seed when you plant it, back to seed when you save your own seed, and then to plant a next generation of that. It's just a cool and useful experience as a gardener, and I recommend that you try it. And one final advantage that I should point out is that, you know, we live in uncertain times and you never know when you might not be able to order seeds. We had some weird times over the past couple of years when there was actually a seed shortage because so many people all of a sudden became interested in growing gardens. I don't know how many of them actually followed through on it. Maybe you're one of them, and if so, that's awesome. Welcome to the club. But if there is ever a situation where you can't find the kind of seed that you want, or there is a seed shortage, it's sure nice to know that you have saved up a collection of your own seeds and you don't have to rely on sourcing those from somewhere else. Saving your own seeds is pretty simple. I'm going to show you how to save lettuce seeds in this video. 3 things to keep in mind when you are saving your own seed. I mentioned these also in my video about saving cilantro seed. You can check that out. But those 3 things quickly are: 1, keep in mind that plants that you allow to grow to maturity for seed saving are going to become huge. Like bigger than you probably ever dreamed possible. And depending on how you feel about aesthetics, that could affect the look of your garden. The second thing is that those plants will take up space much longer than they would otherwise. For instance, since we're talking about lettuce is a cool season crop, so we grow it in late winter, early spring, and then when the temperatures start to warm up, lettuce bolts and it's ready to be pulled, unless you're saving seed. So normally you would pull those plants and you can then plant something else in that spot. But if you're going to save seeds, you're going to leave those plants in the ground until they flower, and then the flowers dry and the seeds appear, and that obviously takes longer, so you lose that real estate, that space in your garden. And then thirdly, keep in mind that when you allow plants to go to seed, they're probably going to drop some of that seed. You may be able to save most of it, but they're going to drop some seeds and you're going to end up with volunteers, depending on what type of garden you have, if it's in ground or raised bed, or depending on where your plants are located that you want to save seeds from. Just keep in mind that you might have some volunteers of that plant next year, which can be a great thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but those are just 3 things to keep in mind. So let me show you how I collected my own lettuce seed. It's very easy. Like I mentioned, you want to let the plants produce a tall stalk. They're going to flower, and then the flowers are going to fade and dry, and they're going to turn into poofy white things at the top, a little bit reminiscent of a dandelion head. Down at the end of those little poofy white kind of stems are where the seeds are. So let me show you what that looks like, how to save the seed, and I'll show you what I use to collect my seed and store my seed. Now these lettuce flowers, these are not ready. This is not ready for saving seeds. They're going to flower, and then we need to wait for it to dry up and produce the actual seed. So what we're waiting for is for the flowers to do this. They are going to get white and poofy, and then the seeds are down in there. See it a little more clearly here. So the seeds are down inside there, but we're waiting for the entire head, or most of the head, to become white and poofy like that, and then we can get out the seeds. To harvest the seeds, I simply snip off the entire seed head and add it to a brown paper bag. I label the brown paper bags with the name of the lettuce variety and the date I collected the seed. To remove the seeds from the seed head, you can use your fingernail to kind of coax them out of that little cup that they sit in. Lettuce seeds are very small, so it can be a tedious process. If you're not as concerned about having super clean seed, if you don't mind having a little bit of plant debris mixed in with your seed, then you don't have to be as careful and it will go faster. You can kind of just crumble the seed heads into your collection container. Just make sure to allow the seeds to dry completely. This can take up to a few weeks before you seal the container.